Good morning, family. Tremaine, Mr. Hard Pivot, back at your screen once again. And we're going to have a little financial literacy quiz today. Just 5 questions, guys. 5 questions, true or false, right? We'll say no right or wrong, but there's more right than there are wrong, right? Guys, that's all we're going to do this morning. Quick financial literacy quiz. Just want to test my guys, test my girls, see what you got going on, see what you know, right? Uh, we know we're in the middle of, or in the midst of, and probably going back into just another recession here, guys. So just having an understanding of your money and your finances is crucial right now, right? Being able to pass down this understanding of money and finances will be even more crucial in the generations that are coming behind you. All right, guys. So, and I got this from I saw, and I will share this with you. This came out a couple days ago, financial literacy quiz, and it just intrigued me. So I wanted to share this with you guys. All right. So we're gonna get right into it now. If this is the first time that you've ever saw the channel, my platform, please like, share, subscribe, and let me know if this, especially if this is your first time, where you are tuning in from. I'd like to know how far the reach is getting, around the world, et cetera, et cetera. So just drop something in the comments. Let me know who you are, what you got going on. Because if you don't know anything else about me, you know I love energy, to turn that energy into synergy, right? So if you have something going on that we can collab on and expound on, hey, always willing to do that. So with that being said, guys, we're gonna jump right into this. This financial literacy quiz is something that I saw. It was an article that I saw. I thought that was truly interesting. I want to bring anything interesting to you guys that has anything to do with money, mindset, and message, right? So can you answer these? And they're true or false? And let me share something with you. Let me share my screen here. And so what I was reading was, it said most people can't answer all 5 of these basic financial literacy questions. Can you? Now, I thought that was intriguing because there are quite a few people in the United States, right? Quite a few people. And apparently they did some type of testing and questionnaires, and the results that came back, they ended up saying that most people can't answer all 5 of these basic financial literacy questions. So when I saw this, and before I scrolled down, I started writing down some basic financial literacy questions that I wanted to see if I could guess, first of all, at least be in the ballpark of what type of questions they were asking. So I wrote a bunch of kind of standard basic questions. I wrote some what I thought was like intermediate questions, and I wrote what I thought would be some harder questions that most people would probably couldn't answer. And all these questions were basic once I scrolled down. They're basic questions, guys. So I was really taken aback by the questions and the fact that most people couldn't answer these particular 5 questions that I thought should be standard, right? And they should be. So if you couldn't answer these questions right today, if you can't get them right, and they're just true or false, then you really need to take a step back and take a look at yourself and think about getting some financial literacy, because the times are, they may get a lot worse before they get better, and they may never go back to where they were before, right? With the transition of wealth, with inflation, with prices of food, and us not being able to import, export, just things going on, things may never get back to our quote unquote sense of normalcy. So financial literacy is going to go a long way, right? I know we talk about a lot of things. I talk about a lot of things that don't get talked about in schools, right? Financial literacy that should be taught in schools. And you'll see in this article that I think, like Florida, I believe it was the state of Florida, that they're mandating some type of financial literacy. They're mandating it. That means they are saying that it is so important, and that it has to be a law, so to speak, to teach financial literacy. Now, there's always been some type of finances being taught in school, basic 101 stuff. And you had books this big, it looks like you had to worry to understand it. And that's all by design, because schools really want to pump out employees. They want to teach you to be employees. They teach you to go to work, get a job, get education, get in debt, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So pumping out entrepreneurs and business owners, just really wasn't a thing. So, but that still made me really, really, really concerned that these five basic questions could not get answered, guys. Five basic questions. You ready? All right, here we go. Let me get back to my screen here. Scroll down. Five basic questions. Oh, here it is. Actually, before we go there, as you can see, it says the financial literacy is in vogue these days, right? Meaning that it's more prevalent, right? It's more talked about because we're starting to understand how uh, important it is outside of school to understand financial literacy and education, right? Talking about money and mindset. So Florida, like I said earlier, here it is here. Florida is becoming one of the most recent and largest states to mandate personal finance courses for high schoolers, which I think is absolutely awesome, right? It really is. It really to teach the true essence of because we have like all this cryptocurrency now and just to teach the essence of how to budget and manage books and businesses is things that this is something that we really need to do. So I applaud Florida for really mandating this personal finance course for high schoolers. They say it goes on to say it's likely a good thing too, as nearly every worker in the U.S. is stressed out about money and a possible recession is looming. Now, this was printed. I'm going to double check to make sure, but I believe a couple of days ago, May 24th, 2022. So this is not like this is from last year or the year before, guys. Think about that line. Think about what they just said. The U.S. is stressed out about money and a possible recession is looming. So how do you get stressed? Well, to not have money, people say that's easy to get stressed to not have money. And a lot of people say you have stress when you have money, right? I venture to say I'd rather have stress with money than stress without money because at least with money, any problem that I can solve with money, I can solve with that. Then I can deal with the rest, right? Uh, to be stressed out about not having money, the only way to get around that, to overcome that, is to understand some financial principles and some strategies, right? Because when you get your taxes down, when you get your debt down, whether it's student loan debt, uh, just credit card debt, and when you get the debt down, your taxes down, right, and you get your expenses down, then stress tends to go down because those are things that money can control. So your stress tends to go down at that point. All right. So now getting to these five questions. Let me finish this. This is a real brief article here, and I'll probably put it in the link so you guys can just go to it and kind of look over it yourself. It said, yeah, even after some financial belt tightening and evidently learning to live with less. So a lot of people adjusted instead of learning financial strategies and learning some things to overcome their financial woes. A lot of people decided to just live with less because that's just easier, right? And a lot of us get taught and trained to learn to live with less in times like that because that's just how you get raised. So many Americans may be less equipped to deal with their finances than a year ago. So if you weren't equipped to deal with your finances a year ago, if you didn't have any financial literacy or any financial wherewithal a year ago, then you are less equipped to deal with the potential of what's coming, right? And this is according to real data. This is not, opinion that's floating around. This is data from the Bright Plan 2022 Wellness Barometer Survey. So that means they go out and they poll 15,000, just workers in the U.S., right? I'm quite sure it's probably just at random. All right, let me scroll down here. Now, here we go. A particularly worrisome finding, guys. They're saying that only 13% of workers were able to answer at least 4 out of 5 of the following financial literacy questions correctly. Now, let me come back to my screen here because I want to see you guys here. 4 out of 5 people, 4 out of 5 workers, 13% were only able to answer these questions correctly. Now, these are people that get up every day. They go to work every day. They sit in traffic every day to go to work. They get to work and deal with people that they sometimes don't want to deal with every single day. They get a paycheck every single week, either bi-weekly every 2 weeks, or monthly. So they deal with money because they have to get this check, put the bank or whatever you do. You got to pay your bills. You got to keep good records of what bills you're being paid, what you owe. So these are people that are dealing with money every single day, but couldn't answer 4 out of 5 questions. So let's get to these 5 questions, guys. I'm going to do one at a time. Let me give you a few seconds on each one to see if you could get it right. These are true or false questions. All right, so let me make the screen bigger here. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. It said 15-year mortgages require higher monthly payments that reduced total interest. So I guess you got to understand that typically when you get a mortgage in this country, typically it's a 30-year mortgage, right? You have your principal, interest, your taxes, and insurance, which is typically referred to as PITI. Your principal, interest, principal of how much you're paying the loan back, your interest on how much you're paying, how much interest you're paying on that loan, the tax in whatever city, community you live in, the taxes, the state taxes, city taxes, and the principal and the insurance. So you should definitely have insurance on your dwelling. If you're not the home owner, if you're renting, you should still have renter's insurance on the inside of all the stuff that you own. That renter's insurance, guys, 10, 12, 13, 15 bucks a month. You spend that going to buy a burger and fries nowadays. Can you get a burger and fries for 15 bucks now? Probably can. So definitely principal, interest, taxes, insurance. So now I'll give you time to answer that. 15-year mortgages require higher monthly payments to reduce total interest. I say true because typically you get 30-year mortgages and that principal, interest, all that stuff is spread out over 30 years. I mean, it just almost is kind of like makes sense to say that if you're going to condense that same principle, which say if it was $200,000 over spread over 30 years, and condense it that same $200,000 into 15 years, then I would imagine uh, that you reduce your total interest because you're paying off that principal faster, right? So I'd say yes. All right. So what do you say? All right. Now this fourth question. 1, 2, 3. And the fourth question is credit card interest is the price you pay for. Let me scroll my screen up. Borrowing money. Credit card interest is the price that you pay for borrowing money. Uh, yes. More importantly, credit card interest is the price that you pay for borrowing money a lot of the times that you don't have, that you can't afford to pay back. And because if you saw my live from yesterday, I can't remember the exact statistic, but I think they said that credit card interest, credit card usage has went up, by billions just from last year alone. And that's an indicator that a recession is looming. I was talking about indicators of a recession, and that was one of the indicators. Because excuse me, guys, because credit card when credit card usage usually goes up like that, it's usually an indicator that people are paying bills, just buying things that they enjoy and just want to have. They're typically paying bills. They're living off the credit cards, right? So that's usually a bad sign. But credit card interest is the price you pay for borrowing money. I absolutely agree with that. Yes, you borrow the money, you pay interest on money that you don't have right now. That's just quid pro quo, right? So I totally agree with that. Question 5. 401k contributions are not taxed until withdrawal. So if you know what we have to know what a 401k is, and most of these people do. They were working, the ones that were answering the questions. So 401k, money that you're putting up, save through work to have when you retire, or when you leave the job. That's your money, uh, which is just a tax code. Just saving money. 401k is basically just a tax code. So the contributions are not taxed until withdrawal. I'd say yes, because you're saving this money for a reason. So I'd say yes, because I'd say true, because to withdraw this money, especially sooner than retirement, there has to be a penalty, or else this, because it's not a savings account, right? You can have a savings account for that to put money in, or or just a checking account to put money in and to take money out. This is supposed to be set in stone for a reason, for later on down the line. So I would say yes to the government, because they want to use this money to make a bunch of money. Or the corporations want to use this money, or who's ever holding this money. They're making tons of money off this money while it's sitting, right? And giving you X amount of, probably 1%, 2%, while they make 25, 30%, who knows? So yes, they're definitely going to want it to be taxed. But in my mind, my answer is yes. So these were the 5 questions. Now I know you guys thought these questions were going to be akin to rocket science questions, and so I did too. So I mean, the ones that I wrote down, I think I may have wrote 2 of these down. I just wrote just more complicated, sophisticated questions, and it was really, really, it was really just to know that only 13% of workers were able to answer at least 4 out of the 5 of these following questions. It just leads to how dire and how critical financial literacy and financial education is needed in this country. It is an indication, it is a sign, it is a warning, it's a shout that, like Florida, they had to mandate for the students financial education, right? Outside of what's already been there for hundreds of years. So it's just, you couldn't answer those 5. If you couldn't answer those 5 questions, you didn't get those 5 questions correct, then that is a sign, it's a warning, it's a shout out that you definitely need to have more financial education, financial literacy, whether it's, through my platforms or any platform. The key to that article, and it goes on, is to saying that financial literacy is so prevalent now. Financial education is pretty much everywhere, and yet most Americans still choose not to peer into it, look into it, think about it until it's too late, until the storm has already got upon them. Then they go to look for just fixes and things of that nature to help their situation. But by that time, they're already drowning in whatever storm that they're in. So one of my mentors always like to say, prepare for war in times of peace. So if you are doing okay financially, you're not drowning in old debt, new debt. If you have money set aside, hopefully it's making money. Money set aside to sitting there not making money is useless, which is some financial education, so financial literacy. See, we're taught to save money. We're taught to hoard the money, save it just to have it, and putting it in banks and allowing it to just sit. The banks are making tons of money off of it, and you're not. So of course the world says save money. So just having little knowledge and little tidbits like that and understanding little things like that can go a long way, guys. So if you cannot answer those, and just for the record, I'm sorry, the answer to each and every one of those was true. Each and every one was true. So if you said false to even one of those, then you have to sit back, take some time to get some financial literacy. This is what I do. This is what my organization does. This is what our experts do. Just teach financial literacy, education, and not only that, actually take you to the next level in your finances, wherever you are. Not that you have, not even if you're past not having a bad credit score, or you don't have debt. You have some money sitting, right? You're doing okay, but you want your credit to get more. You want to be able to take your money and put it into avenues and vehicles that'll show you how to get more of the percentages that the banks are getting. So if you have your money sitting and you're making 2%, our experts can show you how to make 5, 10, or 15% off your money, 12 to 15% off your money. All right. So there's a space for wherever you are, right, in our organization to take you to the next level financially, guys. And if nothing else, just continue to come get the education, continue to come get the literacy. And by all means, please share with your children, share with your grandchildren, share with anyone around you that is seeking more knowledge to do better with their finances, to break any generational curse. Please share always. All right, guys. With that, I am out of here. Tremaine, Mr. Hard Pivot. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. And again, if it's your first time here, like, share, subscribe, and please share the video. All right, guys. As usual, I don't know you, but I believe in you. So why don't you?